everyone, my name is Brooke, your fellow podcaster from the East Coast, content creator, creative artist, and entrepreneur, and welcome to my podcast, Blogger with a Twist. So basically on my podcast, doing topics about lifestyle, I may do a couple rants or story times about my life or whatever comes to mind. So if any of you guys find that interesting, definitely share the podcast, subscribe, also tell your friends or family, and last but not least, get your favorite snacks, your popcorn, whatever you like to eat. Sit back and relax, and let's get this episode popping. Hey you guys, and welcome back to a brand new podcast episode. And look, I know I did not drop a new episode last week. I'm so sorry about that. I was kind of busy, but also Aunt Flo made her monthly visit. And if you're a female, then you know that the first couple of days of your cycle, you don't really feel like doing a whole lot of stuff. So I was being kind of lazy. But despite that, I did receive some good news last week. So your girl got invited to her first influencer award show by Philadelphia Magazine, and I am super excited about this opportunity. So now I'm trying to think, what am I going to wear and stuff like that. And then I'm also going to a networking conference in September as well, which is basically 2 days after the award show. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, September is starting to kind of get booked up, but I am definitely excited for the future. And now I'm trying to make sure I have enough business cards and stuff like that. And then what else? The street interview that I told you guys about last week, the video is dropping this week, and I'm so excited for you guys to see that video because I really had a great time doing the interview. So I will leave a link in the description if you guys want to check that out. Also, the last thing that happened, I was supposed to go check out this food spot on Saturday that just passed, but unfortunately it did not happen because we were supposed to meet at 3 o'clock. End up asking my boyfriend to come with me to help me do some filming. And so when we got there around 2:30, because I wanted to be on time, nobody was there. So I ended up calling them, and they basically told me that they had an emergency and they had to reschedule, and that somebody was supposed to reach out to me on Instagram. And I don't know, I just kind of felt like my time was wasted. And also the fact that I even brought my boyfriend, I mean, what if he has something to do and I asked him to come help me out and you guys don't even show up? So now I'm just thinking, well, if I do decide to work with them again, they're going to work on my time schedule because I did have to take off a half a day of work. But despite that, I did end up doing some type of content that day. My boyfriend and I went to go see Freakier Friday at Cinemark Theaters, and I really did enjoy the movie. So if you guys want to check out that reel, check out my Instagram, which is at Blog in Philly. And then besides that, you guys, today's episode, what I want to talk about is my opinion on social media, because I just feel like nowadays people use social media to either overshare too much information or to do stupid things to get a bunch of views to hopefully go viral. And I just think, in my opinion, I feel like wasn't really intended for all of that. But over the years, people have not used it the right way. So that being said, if you guys want to know my opinion on that, then get your snacks and let's get this episode popping. So when it comes to social media, I feel like it was supposed to be used for helping people to promote their brand, raise awareness, share information. But like I said, over the years, it's just become more people doing stupid stuff or using it as their personal diary. The first social media app that I remember where I felt like people did things to try to get clout was Vine. So I know I'm probably showing my age, but if you're a millennial, then you probably remember the app called Vine. But the one challenge that went viral on Vine that I, to this day, will never understand was the fire challenge. So basically with that challenge, people would take like a flammable liquid, which was most likely nail polish remover, and they would pour it either all over their body or a portion of their body and then light themselves. And so I remember seeing this one video that this guy did inside his bathtub, and he poured the nail polish remover or some type of flammable liquid all over his body, lit himself on fire, and of course, I think he ended up suffering like either second or third degree burns. And I feel like from a common sense point of view, why would you think lighting yourself on fire is a good idea? Even if you think you're going to get a bunch of views and comments, whatever, what if you could have died and now half your body burnt up and you 6 feet under and you cannot even reap the benefits of what you just did? I will say that the only challenge that I ever did, which I never filmed, was the cinnamon challenge. So with that one, you basically take like a spoonful of cinnamon and you try to swallow it. Now at the time, I didn't think nothing of it, but then I realized later on that you can potentially choke. So yeah, that's as far as I went with the challenges. But yeah, the fire challenge, I never thought about doing that one. It did not make any sense. And also, I like my skin. I'm not trying to barbecue my skin. It makes you think that some people, not everybody, but there are just some people that are willing to do just about anything for a couple of seconds of fame, even if they are risking their lives. And that's why I feel like some people, they don't know how to distinguish social media from reality. Because you gotta think about it like this. You think these people on the internet are your friends and this, that, and the third, and sometimes they're not your friends. They're just trolls waiting for you to have your downfall. And even when it comes to some people oversharing too much information, there be times I be on social media and I see some videos, and some of them are really cringy. Like, people forget that once you put something on the internet, it's kind of on there forever, because the minute somebody reshares that, downloads that, and uploads it again to somewhere else, and it starts getting distributed around the web, you can't really stop it. It's going to be kind of hard to stop it. And then another thing I don't understand is when people put their stuff out there on the web and stuff like that, and they may not like what people are saying, then they get upset. My whole thing is this. When you put something out there on the web and stuff like that, people are going to have opinions, and you cannot control what people are going to say out their mouths. And so I just feel like if you don't want the commentary, you don't want the smoke, then don't put it out there in the first place. Like, I remember there was this video that came out a couple years back about this girl trying to make her baby daddy, I guess, seem like a deadbeat or whatever, because he only bought food for one of her kids. I believe she has like 4 or 5 kids altogether. The baby daddy that bought the food, they only share one kid together. So even though I don't have children of my own, I can understand where she was coming from as far as, I have other kids. Like, what about his other siblings? So I got that, but at the same token, okay, so at the end of the day, it is not his responsibility to feed those other children. If you wanted your other kids to have McDonald's, then you should have gave him some money so he could get the kids McDonald's, or contact your other baby daddies and get money so the other kids could get McDonald's. In the video, the baby daddy, or the one kid, he even suggested, basically, if you don't want him to eat the food around his other siblings, he can come in the car with me and eat the food, which I felt like was a valid proposal. But instead of her even taking that into consideration, she took the food and basically threw it out in the street. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, you don't have any money to feed your kids any food. So the one kid that could eat, you just going to starve him because you don't want him to have McDonald's because the rest of your kids can't have McDonald's. I don't know. I feel like in some ways that was kind of selfish of her. I mean, like, you really think you expect this man to feed all the rest of your kids? Now, maybe when they were together, I could probably understand it more, but I feel like, especially if you guys are not together, he is definitely not obligated to feed your other kids. And look, let me tell you, okay? McDonald's is not cheap anymore. Over the years, fast food has gotten more expensive. Like, I remember you could go to McDonald's and get a meal for about $10. Nowadays, if you go to McDonald's and get a whole meal, you're paying close to $20. And God forbid you add on an apple pie, some cookies, or a McFlurry, you're about like $25. So I'm just saying, I understand him, okay? Like, what's the phrase our parents used to say when we used to ask them, oh, can I get McDonald's? What they say, you got McDonald's money? And even when people put their romantic relationships out there on the web, me personally feel like the people on the internet can be a little bit too nosy in your business, especially if things go wrong in your relationship. Like, the minute if you guys break up or whatever, people like flooding your comments like, oh my gosh, what happened? Oh, why did they do this to you? Oh, we gonna get them, whatever. And it's just kind of like, chill. Like, I get it. Y'all are coming here for my defense, but I got this, okay? I just would never put my boyfriend and I's relationship out there on the web. Like, especially if we're having issues or anything, I would not put out there on the web. Like, not everything that happens in your relationship, I feel like you need to put out there on the web. But just in general, I feel like some people, we just need to, get back to, it's okay to keep certain things private and to have some discrepancy. Like, you don't have to post everything about your life or what you're doing every single second of the day. Like, it's okay to have some mystery to yourself, okay? Not everything has to be open book. The things you may want to put out there on the internet, you don't have to. Like I said, especially if you cannot handle what people are going to say about it, just don't say it. Because unfortunately, some people on the internet can be very rude and nasty, especially when it comes to internet bullying. I have seen so many stories about people that have unfortunately taken their lives because of what people have said about them on the internet. And it's so sad to think that what people can say to you can really affect you mentally. So that's why it's important to also, especially if you are an influencer or you are out there on social media or whatever, you need to have a thick skin, because you cannot let what people say to you, especially on the internet, make you think that what they're saying about you or whatever is true. You would think that the internet is a good place and social media is a good place, but you just have some evil people out here that their only goal is to make other people feel bad. And so I guess to conclude my thoughts on this topic, I just wanted to say that when it comes to social media, it's important that we use it correctly. We know how to distinguish it from reality, but also realizing that not everything that we have going on in our lives has to be on social media. And so that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode, definitely share it. Check out the link in the description if you guys want to check out my street interview. And like I said before, definitely follow me on Instagram. And I will talk to you guys in my next episode. Peace.